Retro Show.
Today's episode is brought to you by our patrons over at patreon.com/Animaniacast. Special thanks to Melissa, Patrick, Martin, Brian, Marjorie, Ketzel, The Guaranteed Engine, Christian, Kyle, The Cartoon Gamer, Marie, Alex, Leslie, Sir Zeke, and McCoy. To become a patron yourself and get exclusive access to Tom Ruger commentaries for each episode of Animaniacs, head on over to patreon.com/Animaniacast. And stay tuned to the end of today's episode for a new tier on our Patreon that is going to be pretty exciting, especially for those people who are collectors of Animaniacs stuff. And welcome everybody to another Tiny Toons episode of the Animaniacast.
So here you are on prom night with the best looking duck in the place. What say we celebrate with a kiss?
Good crucial, Plucky.
Say, we don't have to hang around here, you know. My dad's car is right outside.
Right, and so is your dad. He drove us, remember?
Have fun, kids! Oh, yeah.
And welcome everybody to another episode of Talkin, Tiny Toons. Yes, this is the spin-off series of the Animaniacast, the podcast that, of course, talks about, Animaniacs, as well as other shows in the Rugerverse, such as Pinky the Brain, Freakazoid, and of course, like I just said, Tiny Toon Adventures. We're going to be talking about episode 17, question mark? 18 or 19?
It's 17.
It's 17 of Tiny Toon Adventures. We're going to be revisiting our favorite moments and jokes and many of the cultural references and gags. And of course, in the end, we're going to give this episode of Tiny Toons a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me are my co-hosts. There's my brother Nathan.
I also play bar mitzvahs.
And across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hello.
Hello. I was really hoping that Nathan would do the whole spore mold line, but it's very long.
It was long. I was going to say, I've got it, Mortimer.
I've got it, Mortimer. The other classic line from this episode.
You know, the classic one.
Mortimer.
Well, yes, today we're going to be talking about episode, well, it's listed in different places, but we're going to say it's episode 17.
Yeah, that seems to be the most consistent.
Okay, episode 17.
2 places.
By 2. There you go. Prom-ise Her Anything. Yes, the Tiny Toons are going to the Junior Prom. If you two were to describe this episode of Tiny Toon Adventures in just a few words, what would you tell him, Nathan?
Love hurts. I don't know.
Okay. And what do you think, Ellie?
I'd say it's one weird prom.
It was absolutely a very weird prom. Yes, absolutely. Well, this episode was voted on by our patrons over at Patreon.
Blame them.
Exactly. No. What? Patreon.com/Animaniacast is this is the one that won. Well, technically it tied with a different episode. And Kelly, gets final vote on Tiny Toons in the case of a tie.
She's the tiebreaker.
So Kelly, I guess my follow-up question for that is why did you pick this one?
It seemed like a sweet one. I mean, Buster, Babs wants Buster to ask her to the prom, and I don't know, it seemed cute.
Well, I think you were right. Well, Nathan, when did this cute episode, when did it come out? When was it originally released?
Well, it was a Monday, as you, I'm sure, remember. It was October 8th, 1990. This is the same day that...
you said November 8th?
No, October 8th.
October 8th. Well, it says November 9th in the notes.
No, well, that's because I didn't change that. So.
Oh, okay.
That was when the last episode came out.
Okay. October 8th.
October 8th, 1990, which was the same day that U.S. doctors Joseph E. Murray and E. Donald Thomas, they won a Nobel Prize for their discovery concerning the organ cell transfer and treatment of human disease. So
I'm sure we have.
We probably use stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that's all great thing for people.
This was also the day that the first McDonald's restaurant was opened in mainland China in Shenzhen. There we go. Near Hong Kong. As we know, Shenzhen was a special economic zone since 1979. So this is a very
it's a big deal.
Big deal. And, there's an episode that comes out like every day at this point. So I don't want to go too much on other days. So I'm just going to stay on those two things.
On that thing, just in case
I'm going to run out of things to talk about if we do the episode before this or after it.
Exactly. So. It could happen. Yeah, I remember it was always a big deal when the McDonald's opened in different parts of the world back in the 80s and 90s. Like when it opened up in the Soviet Union, I remember that was like a huge step. Because it was almost like, I think, seen, especially back then, as like, yeah, America's doing it. We're spreading our culture.
Well, you know what I mean? The way we won, it was like capitalism won, I guess, basically.
You start showing them like, hey, you don't have to stand in line for bread. You could stand in line for Big Macs.
Yeah.
And that's, hey, not bad. That's a very nice facts right there. Okay, let's go. I do remember, by the way, watching this episode. I remember at least elements of it as watching it, going, oh, yeah, I remember watching this as a kid. I don't know, Kelly, do you have any of the same, or Nathan, you too?
I think, I definitely remember a Go-Go coming out of a clock, but he might do that more than once.
I think he does, yeah.
I remember the dance, yeah.
Yeah, that also was very familiar to me. And then my sister came in and she's like, oh, I remember this episode. She had lots of memories of it. So
yeah, she knows those ones. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about Prom-ise Her Anything. And Prom-ise Her Anything was written by Paul Dini and Bob Caro. It was directed by Ken Boyer. And, they also talk about who did the storyboards, but they don't have that listed on the Wikipedia. So I don't know off the top of my head. So, but it was nice that they do the storyboards in these, in these Tiny Toons. I'm sorry. I feel like a jerk not saying them out loud, but they list them. Nathan, why don't you tell us what happens here in the first part of Prom-ise Her Anything?
Okay, so as I said, Go-Go comes out of a clock.
Whoa!
And he immediately starts playing on the banjo, announcing to everyone, hey, there's a prom coming.
Cuckoo, cuckoo! Junior Prom time drives everyone cuckoo! Guys, bet your dads for some bucks. It's time to go and win a tux. Gals go buy a gown brand new. It's prom time at ACME Loo.
He has a whole song saying like, hey, you got to dance. He's doing a whole square dance kind of song going about it. And this is when Buster finds out that, hey, I have to dance at proms. That's weird. We even have Elmira and Montana Max are standing next to each other. Elmira's like, oh, I hope Montana Max asks me to the prom, but he'd rather get a lobotomy.
Prom time fills us all with glee. It's a fun, exciting jamboree.
I hope Monty will take me. I'd rather get a lobotomy.
So I don't know if that's going to happen. Then the song basically ends, and we find out it's been a week since this poster has been put up, and Buster has still not asked Babs to go to the prom. So, she's getting worried, and Hampton's like, hey, maybe, sometimes boys are just nervous about asking girls. And then Fifi, the skunk, is like, oh, I think proms are so sexist and outdated and all this kind of stuff.
I think the whole idea of proms and dates is a lot of sexist, outdated, how you say, hooey.
Gosh, that's too bad, Fifi. I was kind of hoping you'd be my date. Oh, well.
Bless you, mon petit bacon of beets. I thought no one would ask me.
She gets all excited because she was really glad that he asked. So they get to go to prom together. But still, Babs has no one to go. And she's like, well, maybe he is just nervous. Maybe he's going to ask me tonight. So she rushes home and waits by the phone, but, still nothing. She's like, maybe he's just not home yet. So she goes into this long montage of like throwing cards into a hat. And it's been like 2 minutes and he still hasn't called. And it's like, where is this boy? And we cut to, he's at the library. He's trying to learn how to dance by watching old videos of Bugs Bunny doing the
The reason I haven't asked Babs to the prom yet is because I don't know the first thing about dancing. That's why I borrowed this reel of Bugs Bunny's greatest dance routines. There's gotta be something here I can learn in time for the prom.
By the way, it's not a cultural reference, but it almost sounds like he says Belle Biv DeVoe at one point, and I'm like, Belle Biv DeVoe, but he doesn't.
I think I was watching the closed captioning.
He does.
Closed captioning, by the way, is way off on Hulu.
It really. I agree. I was watching the closed captioning. Yeah, they were really kind of abridging, especially a lot of Elmira's lines in this one.
Yeah, it was just like everyone's. It's just like, I'm going to go home and cook a carrot cake tonight. Like, I'm going to get a cake. Like,
yeah, they were really kind of like,
I'm half the words there. What?
Yeah, they didn't do the episode justice.
Buster thinks that he's figured it out. That's when Bugs Bunny comes in. So we get a cool cameo from Bugs Bunny. And he's like, that's not really a dance for like dances. It's more like to trick hunters. And he's like, a dance is a dance, right? So he decides that he's going to go ask Babs now. So he runs to her house. And she is so mad at Buster. She's like, you've got some nerve standing me up, not asking me yet or anything. And then he's like, well, here's a flower. And then she she swoons over this flower and he gives her a little kiss on the cheek.
Don't you give me those lies, Buster Bunny. If you think you're going to charm your way out of this.
I was thoughtless, I admit it. But if you could find it in your heart to reconsider, Babs, I'd love to take you to the prom.
And so he's like, I did it. I'm so smooth. And we find out little Sneezer's playing the saxophone the whole time. And he's like, come on, Sneezer. And they take off. And Babs was on the phone with her friend Harriet. And Harriet's still on the line asking if everything's okay.
Yeah, I wonder what Harriet. I don't think Harriet's ever actually.
Harriet has never seen. She's mentioned 5 times I think in the whole series. I looked it up because I was like, I
wonder if there's fan art. I bet there's fan art showing who people think.
I guess. I mean, there's no indication of what school or what animal she even is. So
I bet she's a hare. That would make sense.
Yeah, you could assume she's a bunny or a rabbit. Since
Harriet the hare.
Yeah,
and Buster Bunny.
She's in 5 episodes. They mention there's some
go.
reference to Harriet. So
Harriet, maybe Tom has some concept art of what Harriet looks like.
We should ask Tom about Harriet.
Yeah, he'll just hey Tom, can you spend all day looking for artwork of Harriet?
Well, just if we remember next time, we can ask him, and he'll be like, "I have no memory of Harriet."
Harriet's
probably going to be like, "What?"
Well, okay. So at any rate. A fun, nice beginning right here. I guess there's just a couple of references. First of all, the episode's title itself is a reference to a movie called Prom-ise Her Anything, just without the hyphen, basically. So it's the same thing, but it's from 1966, starring Warren Beatty. And reading
it's like the same plot, basically.
No, it has nothing at all. Reading the synopsis, I'm just like, okay. Either way, it didn't sound like a movie I'd be interested in, but it might be good, maybe. But there also the dances that they do in this. There's the main Bugs Bunny dance that he does. I believe it's from Hot Cross Bunny. Which the funny thing about this is. The dance that Bugs does is actually kind of a reference to the way that Danny Kaye would sing. Let me see if I can find exactly like what I'm talking about. This is Melody for 4F. Let me pull this up here because Danny Kaye, who, if you don't know who Danny Kaye is, well, he was in the movie White Christmas, and he was also in Hans Christian Andersen, which is a very good movie, very sweet, hokey movie, but very good. Let me share my screen. You guys can see what I'm talking about here.
Like listeners can't. They'll be all confused.
They'll be able to hear it.
Okay.
So here we go. I'm going to get to the part where he starts doing the zap, 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 day. And he would do this. This was just like a routine that he did. So this is just an example, not the example. So here we go.
I don't think you're sharing sound, so.
Oh, no wonder. Hang on one second. No wonder it didn't work that other time.
Listeners can't even.
Yeah, they cannot see or share or hear anything.
Or hear. They won't see or hear it. It's really good.
This is great. Okay, hang on one second. Stop share. Share screen. Now I'm going to share sound. Now you'll see. Now you'll know. Okay. So this is Danny Kaye doing kind of a version of this thing that Bugs then does a version of it. The people, I'll tell you, you know, it may not be that funny to us, but those people.
Is he doing stand up or is it a?
It was kind of I guess kind of stand up, but he would, you know, he was also a singer and stuff.
Yeah, I know he's in movies and stuff, but that clip looked like he was doing a stand up performance.
Yeah. So yeah, he was kind of like, what is that called? The oh gosh, what do they call it when you go out and you sing and dance in front of the troops?
It's called singing.
Oh yeah, that. No, this is the group. I'm trying to think of what it is, but I can't because we're recording this at the end of the day and my brain's not working. But anyway, that's Bugs Bunny would do this, you know, with that. And then Daffy Duck would do it. They were, you know, Danny Kaye was a big star back then. And so it gets transferred over to Tiny Toon Adventures with this. Let's see. And then, of course, there's that dance that they do. Hillbilly Hair is also referenced in this episode where they're all doing they're doing something. It's they're dancing to Go-Go's square dance, and they even kind of like hold each other's arms and dance a lot like the hillbillies in Hillbilly Hair.
Bang the drum to shout the news. It's time to put on your dancing shoes. Don't be shy, just take a chance and ask your cutie to dance.
So there you go. That's all I can think of for references. But what did you two think about this first part? Kelly, let's start with you.
It was interesting. I mean, watching Babs freak out and poor Buster not knowing how to dance and trying to learn. It was sweet.
It did get that. It did get me when that passage of time montage right there and 2 minutes. It's like, okay, that did make me laugh.
Yeah.
Right there. Nathan, what about you?
I like the cameo from Bugs Bunny. It's always fun to see, Looney Tunes characters show up.
Yeah. There's a lot of them in this episode, a lot in the background. And we haven't got to it, I don't think yet. It's in the next segment, but they show like the mother from the Three Bears cartoons and stuff. She's the cafeteria lady. So they're always just jumping. I think the Bobcat from Looney Tunes is in the background and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's just fun to see them and I enjoy it. And but Babs just climbing the walls just although I heard the paint job was kind of weird on that when she's in her uniform. It looked like she wasn't wearing a shirt, like she was just wearing straps, but then they show a different shot and she is wearing a shirt, but they forgot to color it in a different color.
The animation on this was not the best because Montana and Elmira, like some shots they'd have 3 teeth and then other shots they'd have a full mouth of teeth.
Yeah.
And it was started to drive me nuts.
The quality animation, the whole episode is a little all over the place. It's still passable, but it wasn't
like completely distracting the whole time, but yeah, it wasn't.
Teeth bothered me.
Yeah, there were moments. In some ways, I kind of like it because it does have this kind of weird energy to it of just chaos in it that I liked, but yeah, the only one they really spent a long time. You could tell the animators really cared a lot later in this episode of animating Mitzi really well. They were she was really animated really well. So, but everyone else was a little bit little off in this whole episode.
It's viewer request day.
I'm on. Bye. You get the feeling this thing is rigged?
On Tiny Toon Adventures. Don't miss the fun right after Beetlejuice on Fox. Let's play a Cinnamon Toast Crunch game show! Ready, teams? Ready! As part of this complete breakfast, what gives Cinnamon Toast Crunch its totally intense taste?
Cinnamon and sugar!
Anyone can see there's cinnamon and sugar all over every bite.
It's got tons of taste you can see.
Get it? Got it. Good.
Let's go and get to part 2. Kelly, what happens in part 2 after our commercial break?
Okay. Mary Melody is reporting on the prom for University TV. And Elmira's wanting to go to the prom with Montana Max. And of course, he's kind of a jerk. And he doesn't want to go. And she keeps hugging him and squeezing him. And he eventually promises that he'll go with her, basically just to get her to shut up and leave him alone.
Let go, you butt-faced dweeb! Getting a jump on the big night, Elmira?
Oh, yeah! We'll have so much fun, won't we, Snooky Wookums?
No! Okay, I'll take you, I promise anything! Just let me go!
You heard it here, folks. Monty promised he'd be my date for the prom. Ooh, I can't wait to boogie the night away with my cute little Monty Wanty. Whee! Yeah, party down! Won't that be fun, Monty?
Then he escapes in a truck. Then we could see Crazy Tazzie's House of Tuxes with Tasmanian Devil. He owns a tux shop. And Plucky and I think, is it Hampton? Hampton
yes.
are there. And Plucky's suit jacket is way too big.
Excuse me, sir. Got these in any size other than gorilla?
No problem. Me do alterations while you wait.
Not bad.
Yeah, and you see like fabric flying everywhere. So funny. And then it's perfect.
That Crazy Tazzie's House of Tuxes. Me prices be insane. Me insane. Me not.
And then you see, I guess, is it Bugs and Donald?
Wrong duck.
Huh?
Wrong duck. Daffy.
Oh, my bad.
Although if Donald snuck in, boy, that would be some cameo.
It would be a cameo.
Yeah, wrong intellectual property completely.
Completely different things.
Daffy Duck.
And Donald Duck comes in and he starts.
I talk about Donald a lot more than I do Daffy. Anyway.
Dueling pianos.
Oh, speaking of Donald, check out this. I got a cool cell phone stand. You see what it is? Duck feet.
It looks like Donald.
Yeah, so now my phone looks like Donald Duck, apparently.
Oh, that's cute.
Anyway. Duck feet.
Okay. So, anyway, they're in like insane asylum uniforms. And they just kind of look at each other. It was kind of funny. And so then Buster shows up at Bab's house. He's kind of nervous, I guess. And then she comes out and she's wearing like this, she looks like a princess. She's got like a tiara and her ears are all done up. And she's wearing this big poofy dress. And, he's very impressed. And he's got a corsage. He's got a corsage. He can't even hardly say it. He's like, got corsage.
Flower.
Flower. Yeah, okay.
Tell me, do you like my ears better up or down?
Brought flowers.
Oh, it's beautiful. Pin it on me. On second thought, I couldn't survive the loss of blood.
And because he can't even stand still. He's shaking, like freaking out. So she puts the corsage on, and then she said, "Do you like my ears better up or down?" Which that was familiar to me too. And I was like, I think that may have been in promos.
Yeah.
I think she's really familiar.
I agree. I think she says that. And again, we're not Tiny Toons experts, but I agree. I've heard her say that before, at least in a few, one or two other episodes.
Yeah, but she looks pretty. And then it cuts to Sneezer because they've had some music in the background, and Sneezer turns to the camera. He's like, "I also do bar mitzvahs." And he's got his little hat on. I mean, well, I say little hat, but it's actually like a big hat because
like
it's
a fedora thing.
Yeah, it's got like Indiana Jones hat, and he's so cute.
He says bar mitzvahs so cute, like it's
he
just
says
adorable.
Everything cute.
Yeah,
that's why Steven likes Sneezer. He's cute.
I also play bar mitzvahs.
So, they get to the prom, and everybody's there, Shirley and Fifi, and the girls go to the bathroom to reapply their makeup, and like these paintbrushes appear out of nowhere, and it's like, can you put some more eyeshadow on? I need something done with my hair, and the paintbrushes are whipping up, fixes to their hair and makeup. And then Elmira comes in, and she's all dolled up, and she's so excited because Monty's gonna be her date.
How do you like my ensemble? She or what? I'll knock Monty Wanty for a loop. You mean Monty didn't bring you to the dance? Nope. My little cuddly waddly must have forgot to pick me up, but I'll be waiting for him. Uh-oh.
She's sitting by herself and waiting for him to show up. Keeps drinking punch after punch. There's like a ton of like empty punch cups next to her, after a little while. And she finally realizes he's probably not coming.
Monty, where are you?
Dizzy Devil shows up, and he's ready to party.
Bad news, Diz.
What?
The prom committee just passed a new rule. No single guys allowed without a date.
Date? Me got date? Meet Mitzi.
Brings over Mitzi, who's like a tall, blonde human.
Looks way too old for him, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm no judge of her age, but
she looks like in her 20s or something. Like something.
Maybe. Yeah, probably shouldn't be dating. Well, they're in college.
No, they're not. They're in junior high.
Oh, it's Loo University.
This is the junior prom. They're like 13 or 14.
Is it junior high or high school?
This is junior high.
High school. Yeah. At least high school. Anyway, I have no idea how old these characters are.
I feel like they're 13 or something.
Yeah, they're like 13. This is the junior prom.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not the prom. This is the junior prom.
Okay. So, because they're not even driving yet.
Yeah.
Plucky's dad's.
My favorite line, I think, of the whole.
My favorite line is the
"Hey kids."
Yeah, that made me laugh every time I listened to it.
Yes, the way he screams it, and it was really just a really good delivery. Just timing on that joke was really good.
It was cute. So then Buster and Babs figure out. Babs tells Buster that Monty has stood Elmira up, and Buster's like, well, this time Monty has gone too far. Dun dun dun.
Commercial break.
My prom night's a floppy whoppy.
This time, Monty has gone too far.
There you go. And some good stuff. So we got the conflict right there. How are they going to save the day and help Elmira? So, some little references there. Crazy Eddie was an actual guy. I think Crazy Eddie was based in New York City, but his advertisements were so popular that even without YouTube, it seems like everybody knew about Crazy Eddie throughout the United States. those little local commercials where the prices are insane. So yes, he would be Crazy Eddie. And in this one, they reference Prince real quick, because if you wear purple tux, you'll look like Prince, which I thought that was cute. But what were some of the things you thought were cool or funny? Nathan, we talked about the car line right there. Anything else you thought were stood out?
I saw Tasmanian Devil. That was really fun.
It was interesting having him not be voiced by Jim Cummings, because it was just like, me Taz, me go here.
Did you do the voice of Taz?
You know what? It's about time I come clean. When I was 13 years old, I did Tasmanian Devil in this episode.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because it sounded fine, but it was totally like, gosh, this could be like the Hulk or something.
Generic. Yeah.
Oh, I am a generic guy who just talks like this.
Kelly, what about you?
Well, I already said I liked the sneezer.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, I think I already hit on the stuff I liked.
Is this the part where Go-Go puts the stuff in the punch, or is this the last? Is that the last part? I can't even tell.
I think it's kind of in the midsection.
I think it was in this section.
Introduces
his girlfriend.
Yeah, so I liked when Go-Go looked his eyeballs looked really weird when he does it, but he spikes the punch, which means he put an actual spike in the punch.
It's dangerous.
Which was dangerous. Yeah, it might. I think putting an actual spike, than alcohol. I think it would be worse. But luckily, Plucky spit it out.
And then Arnold brought his wife, or not his wife, but his girlfriend.
His girlfriend. One day they got married, I'm sure.
They, I guess they're accepting of Arnold to have been wearing a dress, which would have been
because they originally thought it was him.
Yeah, Arnold. What I thought was Arnold. So.
Yeah.
Hiya, Arnold. Where's your date?
I am Arnold's date.
I see you've met Arnolda.
Arnolda?
Yeah, she's the only girl I know who's better looking than me.
It was nice to see Rob Paulson on the show, even for just a moment, doing his Arnold voice. Well, let's go on and get to the last part right here. So Buster and Babs, they decide to go and get Monty out of Rio. So this is what Montana Max has done. He's flown down to Rio instead of going to that stupid kiddie prom or whatever he calls it. And they dig all the way there in like a minor costumes. And then they dress up as, I guess, Rambo or something. And they grab him, put him down the hole once again, as everyone else is doing a conga line. Montana Max has a very funny line here about how you can't do this. I'm important. And then, of course, he throws out that he's Republican, which, hey, you know, it's got a political joke in there.
You can't do this to me. I'm rich. I'm important. I'm a Republican.
A political reference, at least, which I don't think happened that often in Tiny Toons. So that was something of note. So Monty goes out there and Elmira tries to get him to dance with him. And he goes through this whole rigmarole of explaining to her why she's so low on her family tree is the evolutionary tree is really low and all this stuff. And he gives her this big speech about how much she's horrible. And then, of course, she says, well, what are you trying to say? It's just like, I don't like you.
You're what's the matter. You're a complete waste of space. You have a personality that rivals spore mold. On the evolutionary chart, you rank someplace between head cheese and toaster ovens. You're a cruise to nowhere. A nil, a void, a zero.
Just what are you trying to say?
I don't like you. Read my lips. I don't like you.
So, she's really sad about it. But then he sees Mitzi and he decides that he's going to go dance with Mitzi. That's who Montana Max should be dancing with, because, of course, he's a millionaire.
Hi, I'm Mitzi.
Montana Max. Max a million to my friends, with emphasis on the million. You want to dance?
And Mitzi, I think, basically tells him the same thing. The whole speech about him being, the personality of spore mold or something like that, I believe. And Montana is crushed.
You're the most obnoxious twerp I've ever met. You have a personality that rivals spore mold.
Hey, just what are you trying to say?
I don't like you.
Yeah? Well, you're lost, Toots.
And he goes back and he sits down right next to Elmira. Both of them are kind of wallflowers, and he realizes he was mean. And Elmira says, well, you want to be friends? Okay, friends. And then she goes, oh, I know you loved me.
And maybe if no one was around, I'd consider dancing with you.
Friends.
Yeah, okay, I guess.
Oh, Monty, I knew it. You do love me.
It all caps off with a dance. Buster suddenly remembers we have to dance, so he drags Babs out there to the dance floor and starts doing a dance, and everybody's like, what is going on with this dance?
Uh-oh. I've never been so embarrassed in my life.
Bugs tried to warn him, but then I guess, Bugs starts doing it too. And then everybody realizes that, Buster is such a trendsetter. So everybody starts doing it. And it's off with everybody going zip zap zip zap zap.
So, you never learned to dance, huh?
What can I say? I'm a trendsetter.
The end. What did you two think about this last segment? Nathan, let's start with you.
Oh, I liked that Bugs Bunny decided to make Buster look cool by showing like, oh, look, a grown-up is also doing this stupid dance. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was cute, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Kelly, what about you?
Oh, Montana's response to Mitzi was just, the other guys were kind of impressed by her too, but it was just over the top and just kind of bothered me a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't think they would do something like that today.
The way he grabbed her and everything like that.
Yeah, and he just
objectifying
howling
her.
at her, and
there is a lot. Yeah, all of them were kind of very much objectifying. Mm-hmm. Definitely Mitzi. They were. It was all reference to kind of Tex Avery kind of
stuff. I get that. But it was a little sexist.
Would not track today. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and but Montana gets on my nerves anyways, and he's just awful.
He is.
The way he treated Elmira was just awful. And, but he's interesting because he makes Elmira a sympathetic character.
He really does.
Yeah.
So I find that dynamic very interesting, and, it adds some complexity to both their characters.
Yeah.
Well, and it is an interesting aspect of like, well, when someone likes you and you don't like them back, and it's like, what are you supposed to like? But really, he should have tried to not hurt her feelings so much. And he did agree to go to prom with her. So
that's true. He did. Well, he as soon as he agreed, he went off in a limo to get an escape.
But still, he should have made it clear, like, that we're just going as friends, or just like,
Yeah.
So maybe, but I don't know if she would even understand it. So it does there. I can feel for Montana Max as well, just to be like, yeah, you like someone and they don't like you, or.
But he should have been more clear.
And you don't like it back. They always do in movies. They always do from the perspective of you liking someone and they don't like you back. But there's also the dynamic of someone liking you and you just don't like them back. It's like, am I a bad person for not liking this person back?
That's a good point. Yeah, and I think everybody through high school and junior high, you probably have somebody, you hear that somebody likes you, and then you're like, oh no, they like me. Oh, I don't like them.
Yeah, like, oh no, then it's gonna be awkward. Like,
yeah.
It is I wish more things would delve into that kind of.
Yeah, I remember that happened to me. I remember I remember in high school they're like, oh, Joey, the so and so likes you, and I was like, what? And wouldn't you know it? The next time I go, the to the next class, and that girl had moved from across the room to sit right next to me. And I was like, oh gosh. And there was nothing wrong with her. She was incredibly sweet, but I was just like, I don't even know this person. And now they really like me. It was very awkward. So yeah, we're still like friends on social media and everything, but I never wanted to be like more than friends with that person. You know what I mean? So awkwardness is definitely part of all this.
Yeah. So I was hoping it would have ended with them just being like friends, and then, but now it still seems like funny. Elmira doesn't quite understand.
Yeah, that's not funny. Friends. You gotta end it with she still doesn't learn. Sure. That's what I think anyway. Well, yeah, overall though, it's a very cute episode. And like Kelly, you were saying, there's a lot of sympathy right there. It slows down at the right moments, I think, where Elmira is, you're supposed to feel sorry for her. And, it's not a lot about prom. It's more about, let's solve this problem with Elmira more than anything else in this episode. It's the main conflict they have to do. Speaking of prom, I never went to prom.
I didn't either.
I did.
Nathan, what happened when you went to prom?
I won prom.
You won the prom. Prom.
I was prom king. That's what I got. So I won all of prom.
You won. And
take that, everyone.
And what do you get? What do you get for prom king?
I got a crown. I got a sash. And I got, that was it. I got to dance with the prom queen.
And that was pretty much where you peaked in life, right?
Yep, that was the best part of my entire life.
Downhill from there.
And it all went downhill from there. Did you get a nice big picture in the yearbook?
No, the yearbook has already come out by the time.
Oh, really?
Prom.
That's horrible.
So homecoming king and queen, they get their picture in, but prom king and queen, they don't at all, because you're not even in the next year, because by then
nobody cares about
graduated. Yeah. So
you're old news.
I'm not in the yearbook, but I do have a picture of me wearing a prom king and a sash for the prom photos.
You got proof.
But you don't get them for free. You should give you at least that picture for free, right?
You would think so.
I still have to pay $70.
And that's why I never went to prom, because number one, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. And number two, I'm just like, I had to spend how much money to just hang out with my friends? No, it's okay. I'll just stay home.
The only guy I wanted to go with prom went to another school, which was fine. But he didn't ask me, partly. I mean, he actually went with another girl that went to that school, which bugged me. Because, I mean, I thought he'd ask me. But I also found out later, years later, I didn't know, but he was gay. So, which again was fine. Yeah. I just didn't know. And I'd crushed on him hard for years. And he didn't tell me. And when he finally told me, he was like, dude, why didn't you tell me? I was crushing on you. I had no idea.
Wasted time.
It's fine. But, I could have crushed on somebody that really could have reciprocated.
See, again, let people know. Just be friends.
Well, he was struggling, and I get it.
That's true.
It didn't sit well with his family, and so he was already like out of college basically by the time I even knew. And but I was like, I'm totally fine with it. I'm glad that now you can tell me. But
exactly,
man, when I'm like crying in my pillow over you because I think I'm too ugly or not smart enough or not pretty enough or whatever, like it's just because I'm a girl.
Yeah, exactly. You had it was nothing to do. Yeah. There's nothing you could do at all about that situation. Well, let's go ahead. I think so. We give proms in general. I give proms a 1 star. One water tower myself.
They just cause pain.
5 stars.
Nathan gives them 5. Kelly and I give them 1.
Too, whatever. So
that's something.
And then get prom king. So it's
a 5 water towers for Nathan. But okay, let's go and do a water tower rating. However, for this episode of Tiny Toons. Well, what do you think? Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode of Tiny Toon Adventures? Kelly, let's start with you.
I guess I'll go with 4. I liked it. Like I said, really the main issue I had with it was some of the animation on the teeth, which is, kind of nitpicky. But, the story was good. And and I'll also point out, because before I forget, that I noticed in the credits that the music was written by Lawrence Rosenthal, which is a name very familiar and dear to my heart. He worked with Joel McNeely. They both were the composers on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
That's right.
Yeah. And
Joel McNeely. Yeah.
I own the 4 CDs for that show, which I still had one. I guess the number 1 one was the one I was missing, and my dad tracked it down somehow, not that many years ago, because I had them all in cassette, but I didn't have them in CD because they go that far back. Well, kids today, they just don't even know.
Joel McNeely did one of my favorite Star Wars soundtracks. That was the Shadows of the Empire soundtrack.
Yep.
Which I listened to that all the time, and there wasn't even a
I
movie.
Revisit it. Yeah.
I remember hearing that and then listening to the Phantom Menace soundtrack afterwards and going, this sounds like the Shadows of the Empire soundtrack. Anyway.
Yeah. Shizor's theme was pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. Nathan, stop talking about soundtracks. Let's go back to Tiny Toons. How many did you give? How many water towers does it get for you?
I'm gonna do 3.5 because I thought it was cute. I enjoyed the whole Babs and Buster will they or won't they kind of thing going on, and I guess I just felt a little bad for Montana Max and Elmira, mostly Elmira, but a little bit for Montana Max, and then this whole sexist thing at the end. But it was overall a decent, episode. 3.5.
Okay, I'm going to give it 3.5 as well, just because I thought it was very cute. It was a very sweet story. Not necessarily the funniest story, but there were some nice, funny parts in it that stood out. And yeah, the animation wasn't as strong as it could have been, but it was still, like I said, kind of some appeal to that weird animation for me still at this point. Well, let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people find you online?
Oh, Joey, I'm on Twitter. JangoFT, that's me.
All right, Kelly, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter, Yoda Princess, YODA, PRNCSS, or email me, Kelly@BigShinyRobot.com.
All right, and as for the Animaniacast, we are on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and of course, you can talk to us over on our Discord channel. You can talk to us and all the other folks working over at RetroZap by going to discord.animaniacast.com. That'll give you the welcome link to talk about Animaniacs with us, or really talk to anybody from any of the other RetroZap podcasters about anything pop culture. And if you are a super Animaniacs and Animanicast fan, then you gotta become a patron. Go to patreon.com/Animanicast, and you'll not only get some awesome bonus audio with Tom Ruger, and in the case of our last week, with Paul Rugg as well. But I'm going to go ahead and announce it right now because it should be ready by the time this episode comes out. Tom Ruger is going to be signing Animaniacs trading cards for patrons. So if you decide to join that level, you'll not only get bonus audio and vinyl decals and all the other stuff, but you'll also get an autograph from the creator of Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures. So more details on all of that can be found over at patreon.com/Animanicast. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, Joey.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
You saved my life, Bugs. How can I ever thank you?
Next time, swipe one of Daffy's routines.